And we are live, yes. Sorry, Steve, for making you wait.
Sorry, we're late.
We were nattering. We can't
Yeah,
help
we're
it.
talking-
I told him.
talking
I
about
told.
different games.
I told him we were having a yap. We were just about to go live, and he messaged.
Yep.
Oh, this is, I've lost track of what session it is. 5?
Says it there. Session
No
5.
one knows for sure.
It's session
Says it.
5.
Oh, it is session 5, yes.
I had somebody got in contact with me. I think it was Fuke, saying with with the whole session 2 things and no session 3 and yeah.
Well, session 5 of June. And in the last episode, our players were on ship between Wallich 9 and their home planet of Kaitane. Had a bit of intrigue. Their charge seemed to be working against them at some points, asking for drugs they didn't want to give her, and sending secret messages. Then there was a murder aboard ship that Tomica discovered a button. I believe it was Tomica. It might have been Burton.
No, it was Tomica.
That belonged to a different house, and they sort of covered it up for this other house and gave them a heads up. And at the end of the session, they just received a visit from a prominent member of that house, and was left a little bit of a clue, I believe, in the form
Yeah,
of
I can't remember what it was.
an
No,
OC Bible.
Oh
Yes.
yes.
We were decoding.
Oh,
You had-
yeah.
You had a Bible left with you,
That's right.
and as you flipped through the pages, you found that this Bible had it's a very thin page Bible, one of those almost like transparent pages, but words were just sliced out of the page,
Mm.
and you were going to try and decipher what it all meant.
And then we got really paranoid.
You're paranoid for the whole session. That's the
Which the GM should take credit and say, yes, it's exactly what I was expecting and hoping.
It was very opportunistic, actually.
I know, you had us like, okay, so you leave the ship, and we're like, no, we've unfinished business on the ship, take us back.
So we are going to return to the ship, actually, with your opening the Bible up and trying to decipher what this message is from Duncan, Idaho of House of Atreides.
Yes.
Any ideas of what you're looking for? I was saying, you've individual
It's missing
pages.
words, right? So let's look
Missing
at what
words.
words are missing.
Didn't we want to get another Bible, like the replica Bible, and just look at that and cross-reference?
Yeah.
Hang on, let me check the side table. This is, after all, technically a hotel.
Yes, it is. There should be one in our
Yes.
like cabinet.
You're hoping for the Dune version of a Gideon book.
Yeah, it sounds like it. So, I mean, you can obtain a copy of the OC Bible pretty quickly, easily. And you look through the match the pages up, and the words that are missing don't seem to mean anything.
We do some sort of jiggery pokery code breaking stuff on it, like first letter, second letter, that kind of shiznit.
Yeah.
Okay, the missing words. Okay, if you want to do me a rolls for, I don't know, sort of some sort of logic, code breaking, subterfuge, something along those lines. I've not got my character sheet open.
I have subterfuge, which I'm rather hoping.
I mean, I can roll 2 dice in it.
There's an intellect.
Yeah, exactly.
And remember
I'm a
your
woman of action, but I'll try.
remember your drama die.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, 5.
Yeah.
I've not got a clue. Why would you not at least ring the words for a start rather than cut them out? I mean, that's crazy.
I'm going to have a go as well.
Okay.
Question though.
I got 2 ones.
What do you, I have a question. Right, are there What if we read the words that are on the page behind them, rather than the ones that are cut out?
Okay. What's Darius's pass?
I got a total of 7. I rolled a 2 on the drama die, so there's no fucking up there, and I got a total of 7.
Okay. Yes. So you do sort of notice that the pattern there's nothing corresponding in the two different Bibles, but when you shut the page again, a word does shine through the gap left in the cutout, as Atomica suggested. And
Well, let's
there's
start
about-
doing that then.
there's about maybe one cutout on every other page, and as you read it, the message is, beware, your house is attacked on 3 sides.
3 sides.
And it says then in different just letters cut out, BG, have plans for your lord's bloodline.
BG.
Bene
The
Gesserit.
lands- Then it says the
Yes.
lands, and then a little further in the page, a small section of a word, rad, try to sunder you from your lord.
I think
Sunday. Well, hang on, what does Sunday mean?
it's in tear asunder.
Tear apart.
Oh, right, yeah, right.
Leprous words are jealously poured into the ear of your lord. Suspicion falls at the door of your house. Yet friends you may find in the wilderness. Friends soon to be elevated into a position to help.
I gotta say, what kind of thin fucking book is this many letters and words through? This is a major. This is a major fucking opus being written here.
It's a big book.
Could you put that in the chat,
I can do.
please, Bill, so that we have that to hand.
I don't think we really care, though, do we, about plans for the bloodline that the Bene Gesserit have? I mean, that's like a generational thing. I mean, screw that. But if they...
I'm just glad it's not a bunch of guys with big teeth singing in falsetto.
Well, look, at the end of the day, if they've got plans for the bloodline, that at least means the bride is decent and honest. It might mean they want to marry off the daughters or sons. I mean, as a player, I know we'll only get daughters, but it might mean they have plans to marry off the children to certain people, which they can try. I'm sure our children's will also be there trying to thwart them. So, or seeing if it works for us as well. So I don't really care about Bene Gesserit bloodline plans, because that's a generational thing. And all it really means in regards to our princess is that she's going to give us kids. Woohoo! That's what the Lord wants. So that's not an issue. So one side is not to worry about. My question is, what are the other 2 sides? Well, we know one's the Emperor.
Yes.
Is the third Landsrad?
We don't really have enough evidence yet.
We don't have enough at all. I mean, we know that he was the representative was really stirring it when he came to see us.
And the other thing is, words in our Lord's ear about us.
Yes.
So what's he going to think when we get back? I'm sure the third side actually will be that family I keep pissing off.
Well, the Fenrings.
Yeah. It's not my fault. They just keep being inept in my way.
I don't know. I did. They seem more a lot. Well, I mean, they it could be them on the side, but they seem to be more sort of power playing with taking the
Emperor.
side of the Emperor and taking the
Well,
side of the Bene Gesserits rather
that's
than.
how it started, but I think we've kind of made it personal with them. That could be the reason for words in our Lord's ear, because it's not our house they hate. They really hate me particularly, and Bertim particularly.
Yes, I can't possibly think why.
Well, it's rather unjust. I beat them fair and square.
If they had any qualifications at all, they would know the difference between a truth serum and a steroid. They're quite different.
Yes, they're using it as an excuse.
Yes, I got that. It's still frustrating.
Lord Fenring. My dick's really big. It's huge, hugest in the galaxy. It's the best wiener.
I hope.
As Atomica
waiting
sets
for
back, as Atomica sets back diplomacy about a century.
Because that would be cause for medical concern if it looked like that.
Actually, I have. It's all of my willpower being used to not record that on whatever personal devices we have and actually send it to them.
This is what your willy looks like.
I don't know. I don't know exactly what is the more worrying: the fact that it looks like that, or the sound that supposedly Atomica thinks it makes. Now there's something medically wrong if that's the sound it's making as
It
you're
needs
walking.
a drop of oil. It's a bit squeaky. It's a prosthetic.
Needs a bit of lubrication. No, I'm a little more I'm a little more concerned by the Landsrat. If the representatives seem to be, he came to us trying to sow discord.
Well, yeah,
And more importantly, was hoping to get an audience with our Lord, so that he could do that. He could make his case to him, which could be something about the leprous words being poured into his ear. Could be reference to that.
I think Phil pressed the wrong button.
I think he did.
Phil.
And wrong button again. It's awful.
Come back, Phil.
I'm back. Yes. So you pour over this book. Are you trying to hide this from your charge? Are you decoding this message, or are you letting her know what it is?
We're going to be doing it in the lounge. If she's in there, then she'll almost certainly be able to read over our shoulder. And and as I say, look, the whole thing with Bene Gesserit bloodlines, I don't care if she's in the room. I mean, how is that even a threat? That's them playing whatever power game. I mean, as a player, I know they're trying to produce the quiz at Sadigrat, but as a character, it's like, they're trying to produce they're trying to produce some kind of superhuman or some kind of
I suppose
for a purpose down the road somewhere.
I suppose the only point of concern is if they start making any sort of moves to remove anyone who might object to their plans. Sort of Night of the Long Knives sort of thing.
Yeah, but I mean, as far as I'm concerned,
I agree. If we were talking about bloodlines, then yeah, we're talking about a generation, if not two. Sort of that's a long-term strategy. So
yeah, I mean, it might be
that
they want the child to marry us, or one of the children that our Lord has to marry a certain person, and they might try to arrange that somehow. And you never know. That might actually also work for us.
Yeah, but if they are a more immediate threat, then there must be something more than bloodline
Yeah.
going on. Or, as I say, there's the possibility that perhaps as part of their long game, they're going to start removing those they consider to be obstacles by one way or another.
Mhm.
So, Your Ladyship, we don't really mind that the Bene Gesserit have plans for a bloodline. As far as I'm concerned, it just means you're going to give them an heir. Woohoo! We're all happy.
Well, yes, that's part of being married, and I will serve the house as well as I am able.
Good to hear.
Can you sort of hear some sort of not commotion, but you hear activity outside of your room in the corridor.
Here we go again.
Are you going to look outside?
I wouldn't mind like looking through the keyhole first.
Shall I do the take cover position then?
Okay, when you look outside, there's just people moving equipment around. You don't see anything to worry about as such. You can see that the Spacing Guild are doing. I've brought some heavy equipment in to examine the closet where the body was found outside,
Mm-hmm.
to see if they can find any forensic traces or anything. But as you look out of the door of your room, you can look down and you can see the guild spokesman you talked to, and he's actually in conversation with Gaius Metilius, the Landsraad rep that came to see you earlier. Who would be looking out of the door if to see
Bertin.
this? Bertin. Bertin, as you look down, you can see that the Landsraad rep looks in and he just nods, and the spokesman for the Spacing Guild looks at you, turns back to him and says a few things, and then walks off. And then this Gaius Metilius walks towards you and says, "Would Darius be available for a quick word, please?"
Is this the Landsraad guy or the guild guy?
Landsraad guy.
That's the right guy.
I turn my head back into the room and make eye contact with Darius.
I nod.
Yes, he will see you.
Oh, thank you.
Before you even open the door, I sort of motion to Atomica.
He says,
I want a witness to whatever's going on here now.
"Mr. Wardson, would you like to accompany me on a slight turn around the ship?"
Yes. I don't think I've actually enjoyed the tour of the ship. Yes, I think that would be if you would just make myself a bit more prepared. Yeah.
The other two, are you staying inside the room with your charge?
Bertin, would you be okay to look after Her Highness for a moment?
Yes, I can.
I am a little bit concerned by their singling Darius out.
Yeah.
Okay. So you stroll off down the corridor, and you stroll a certain amount of a few paces in silence. And he says, "I've just been talking to the Spacing Guild spokesman for the ship, for the Highliner. He tells me that there was an attempt to kill a member of your party. He said this is very disturbing. The Spacing Guild are absolutely jumping."
I'm not surprised.
I think there seems to be quite a few rumors circling your party. If you don't mind me saying, you seem to have a feud with the Fenrings. It seems to be common knowledge.
We don't have a feud with the Fenrings. The Fenrings have a slight difference of opinion. That is, we hold no ill will to the Fenring family. The Fenring family, on the other hand, seem to well, no one likes to lose a duel. There's a certain amount of, if I may say so discreetly to you, a little bit of face saving on their part, which is beginning to spiral somewhat out of control. Their emotions are overriding their reason.
But you must be aware that if you upset the Fenrings, you upset the Emperor. So that's quite a major.
Problem, I would tend to agree, which is why we have done nothing to upset the Fenrings. The Fenrings. There was a duel. The Lord lost the duel, fair and square. However, he is. I don't think he's used to losing in such style. His defeat was, dare I say this, this may seem somewhat uncouth, but he was rather easily put down.
Don't forget, Darius, because it's relevant, and I mentioned this out of character because your character was there.
Yeah.
With the whole Bene Gesserit attempt to assassinate us as revenge, that was considered a slight against us. So we repeated the offer for the duel, and then they failed to show. This is our line of offense.
Yes. We have had an attempt made against us.
Really?
Well, we've had an attempt made against our lives whilst we were went to meet our young charge that we were bringing for her marriage. The wife of Lord Fenring then called out a master of arms for a duel, and then failed to show. The Bene Gesserits claimed that she was harmed, hurt in some way. We showed up on time.
Marjorie Fenring, the Countess.
Yes.
So you've upset the Bene Gesserit sisterhood as well as.
No, the Bene Gesserits. Bene Gesserits picked a side. There are many terms, many descriptions for that side, but as it turned out, the one absolutely irrefutable descriptor was that they picked the losing side.
In my experience, the Bene Gesserits only ever pick their own side.
That may say something about them. However,
I think your house is walking into great danger. If you could align yourselves more to Landsrad than the Emperor, we could offer you some sort of security.
Obviously, of course, my lord would listen, I am sure, at a given time to your offer. And I'm certainly willing to to ask him to see you. I did already promise that I would. You do understand that before that happens, the events surrounding the business of the Fenrings, the murder aboard this vessel, these will have to be reported to my lord.
Oh, of course they will. Of course they will. He says. But
And
anything
I'm not sure that he will take kindly to it.
if you can get us, if you do all you can to get us that meeting and put in a good word, then I'm sure we can offer you what you need to protect yourselves.
I am sure you will. I feel my legs are well exercised for the day. I will, with your leave and pardon, I will return to my quarters. We'll be coming to dock soon, and I must pack and prepare my papers for presentation to my lord upon our arrival.
Certainly. Very, very pleased to see you again, Mr. Woodson.
As am I. Thank you. And I leave. I give him a sort of courteous bow. More of a head nod than anything else, but and I head back to the room.
Okay, while you're out, I forgot she's called now. Offhand, your charge is
Silmarillion.
Silmarillion.
Yes.
Scylla
Scylla
leaves the
Black.
room. This is scary. Approaches Burton and Doctor. Where is everybody? It seems very quiet today.
Well, quite the contrary. Outside, they're hauling lots of equipment about, and they are sorting out. I believe they want to either do a dissection or examine the body from a while ago some more. But yes, in here it is quite quiet. There will be a little bit of waiting around, you understand, but it won't take long.
Sure. I was wondering if you could help me. She said, I didn't sleep well last night. Would it be possible if you could prescribe me something I could maybe catch an hour or two before we dock? I'd like to be fresh for when we land.
Very well. And hopefully I've got a couple more of my placebo bottles left.
Okay. Yeah, you can give her like one of those.
Yeah, I'll give her the one because she just wants a couple of hours. So why'd I give her more?
Okay. So she thanks you and returns to her room.
Have a good sleep.
And then Darius, you probably meet Atomica on the way back to your quarters.
Yes.
On the way back to the quarters, I want to have a look at this investigation, like who's there, and maybe ask them for a status update or something.
Okay, yeah. You see, there's a lot of guild people walking around, operating the equipment and examining the scene. And they've got some scanners, and they're scanning the walls and the floors, and they said, we've picked up blood and some skin samples, but only from the murdered person at the moment. It doesn't seem to be any evidence from the person that committed the murder.
Where do you suppose the murder happened?
Well, there doesn't seem to be enough blood here. The body seems to have been dumped in this closet.
Well, yes, I pieced that together. I'm asking where you think it happened. You know your ship better than I do, so...
Well, we don't know at the moment. It's not in his quarters, because obviously he shares quarters with a number of others. So any sort of murder there would not gone unnoticed. So we're still investigating at the moment for where...
Have you established a timeline?
We think probably a couple of hours before the body was found.
I mean, have you established his movements up until the time that he was last seen alive?
Because the time from when we saw him to the time the body was found isn't very long at all, if I recall.
No. He seems to come off shift very soon after he left your quarters. returned the trolley that you had to the kitchens, went off shift, and then was found a couple of hours later
Bless you.
murdered in his closet.
With a trolley just in that room there, wasn't there? So
Yes.
why would there be a trolley there if he's off shift? So maybe he didn't get off shift.
Well, we're possibly thinking that someone moved the body
On the trolley.
On the trolley.
Mhm.
It's just like a trolley with like a tablecloth over the top hanging down, so they could have shoved him onto the bottom.
Which
shelf.
means that the murder happened somewhere with that trolley would have been or would have access to, and it not look out of place.
Mm-hmm.
That narrows it down to basically the route between the kitchens and here. What's on that route?
Oh, there's quite a lot on that route. Obviously, there's loads of state cabins, state rooms, and quarters and open areas.
How was it he died again?
Sorry,
How was he died again? It was quite
Stabbed
violent,
in the-
wasn't it?
stabbed in the back.
Yeah, by
Yes,
slip knife.
There's a
Right.
But you found traces of spice and a button from a trading's uniform on him.
Well, that was planted.
Are you thinking of the spice had planted, or?
Maybe not. To be honest, it could well have been his payment for the job, but the button it would definitely have been planted.
Yes, I would
Obvious.
think it's highly unlikely that
Somebody stabbed
a
in the back.
man stabbed in the back would be able to grab his assailant's button.
Well, they don't know
And
he had a
pocket
button.
it.
They don't know he had a button.
Yeah, they don't. But this is just me explaining why I believe that is because not only that, but it was then found in his pocket. He was stabbed in the back.
I have a thought. He would have been bleeding.
Well, yes, that's what we're scanning for currently.
Yes.
Traces.
Surely then it would stand to reason that there would be a pathway of the blood from
Moved
where
on
he
the
was
trolley.
killed.
Well, there's a certain amount of blood that's pulled
Even on the trolley, there's bound to be a drip.
Yeah, there's a certain amount of it's pulled on the trolley because the trolley is like a shelf
Yeah.
with sides to it. So there's some blood that's pulled on there.
Somewhere
this-
else in this ship is some blood spatter from the murder itself, but we don't know where.
Yeah. And interesting fact was we found no spice in his system at all.
none.
Well, it would seem to me. I'm not going to say this in front of the investigators. Actually, I'm going to wait until we're back in the room.
Which you can do anytime you want.
Yeah,
Now, as we walk away, I go, well, that's a clear-cut case. Then it's obviously the Fen rings, and I will deliberately say it so that they can overhear, but as if I'm just saying it to Darius and pretending that I'm not imparting that.
and another millennia of good, solid. No, actually, I.
How many wars are we going to start in this campaign?
More
Well, the
British men.
beautiful part about that is if they believe it, then they go off and investigate the Fen rings. If they don't believe it, then it'd be like, oh, they're just calling the Fen rings out because of the feud. Wait a minute, there's a feud we should investigate. Maybe we should check the Fen rings. So either way,
Yeah, to me, it seems obvious that once they establish a timeline, they should be reasonably able to determine where he could have been to be murdered and placed back in the where he was found.
Well, when the body was found to when we last saw him, it was such a short time window, and the distance to the kitchens is quite long. So it has to be one of those staterooms, and if the Fen rings
Yeah.
happen to be on them,
There's the Fen rings. I mean, obviously, the ship is coming back from Wallach 9. Count Fenring did come because you left him at the spaceport, and she is obviously injured.
And she's
I know that because I did it. But the
So there's no Fen rings on the ship at the moment.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that it's not somebody she's paid for or is in her employ or something. Like, I don't know who her sword master is other than her husband.
actually, that brings a point. You could be right in a sense. There are no Fen rings on the ship. However, they didn't know that when they allocated the rooms. They would have known that room wasn't going to get used nearer the time. It's possible that he was killed in an empty room that was going to be the Fen rings room.
True.
Just a thought. It could be they could be guilty and innocent all at the same
But
time.
here's the thing: if the Fen rings, just because Lady Fenring didn't come, didn't mean there isn't a member of their household.
Very true. Very true. But the investigators, I fear that the investigators are clocking. They're marking time rather than actually investigating.
Nah, they just haven't got a clue.
Yeah.
So possibly the button. So look, if we get our list of suspects right, it's Fen rings, Bene Gesserit, Landsrad, or a player within the Landsrad, but like we wouldn't know who. I don't think the Landsrad would be out. Oh yes, they would. They'd totally be out to kill our Bene Gesserit bride, who's related to the Emperor, to distance us from the Emperor. So yeah, it's almost certainly the Landsrad. Or the Fen rings.
Seems like a logical explanation, but we still need proof.
Yeah, it'll be one of the two. I'm not actually fussed which. I mean,
You just want to see the demise of both of them at Atomica, I see.
well, no, it doesn't change my plan for either, right? With the Landsrad, we're still going to do the same thing, which is string them along, wait until they have their big conflict with the Emperor, don't commit either way until we can see which side is winning. Then we make our commitment and we make the decisive move, gain loads of status, medals and glory, job done. Right? It's not going to change from that, because why would we, a small minor house, pick a side before it's obvious what side to pick? Like, if the Landsrad and the Emperor are going to go at each other with lasguns, why would we put our small military in? We would wait until we have the opportunity to make a decisive move that settles the whole thing, claim the medals, get the glory, and wouldn't go and be the front line. I mean, come on.
Which is obviously the way you got where you are.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, that's how we're the world's or the galaxy's biggest exporter of number plates, right?
There is a part of me, given that we are about to land on our home turf, our home planet. I'm almost tempted to see if we can actually hold this ship here and take over the investigation. I know it's not going to happen because the Spice Guild will be all over us. I'm well aware of that.
At the end of the day, everyone kowtows to the Spacing Guild.
Yeah.
It just, yeah. And we ain't got enough shares.
Yeah, nothing moves anywhere without the Spicing Guild.
Yeah.
So, anything you want to do before you land, or you?
I
I know
Sure.
what I want to do, but
Short of that, like if that investigation is going to carry on post landing, then there's not a lot we can do really.
No,
We'll
no.
because we are needed to go to our Duke and report in, and we really need to find out what has he heard, who's been poisoning him.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, once you reach your destination, there is still several hours to wait before you actually land on the planet. Tom, everyone sort of everything gets sorted out. Everyone's the ship's leaving order, and you land back on the planet. It's probably another 6 or 7 hours. And you land at the same spaceport you took off from, and Scylla actually makes a request again to visit the Imperial Palace to see her family before traveling to Mazine.
My darling, why don't you have them visit you at the Lord's house?
Is that an option?
Of course it is.
yes, we can have them brought here to you.
I will take their
Of course,
word
Jack.
for it.
That would be fantastic. Thank you.
Yes, you just tell us your family members, and we'll ensure that they're contacted, and we will arrange for their transport.
You met him actually during the negotiations, wedding negotiations.
Oh yes,
Is it the father then?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
why do I get the feeling that reunion is not going to go well?
Well, look, at some point, the Duke needs to meet the father of the bride, right?
No, I meant I have this horrible feeling that we're going to find out that this reunion is actually going to be a redo of parts of Carrie.
Wow.
Well, this could be the option for the third people who are coming to get us, right? It could be his family, or her family, rather. You know, it could be this guy.
It could be, yes. But I suppose I'd better give you some more steroids and we'll find out.
Who are you giving the steroids to?
Well, I was being hypothetical for the moment, but obviously Atomica.
Okay, so you can grain car it over to a basic airport and catch a land or air travel back to Mazine.
Yep.
Which goes pretty uneventfully. You managed to, as you depart the spaceport, actually, you see the Landsrite rep. He's exiting as well on Kaitane. You don't see anyone else you recognise. None of the Atreides party seems to have got off.
Okay.
Okay. And you can arrive back at your palace, your lord's palace in Mazine, and you show her into his into the formal dining room, and he is waiting there with a couple members of staff having a quick discussion, and he looks up and says, "This must be the bride to be."
My lord.
I hope you didn't have too much trouble in your trip, my lady. And she says, "No, it seems to have been quite uneventful. My guardians have been very efficient and very protective of me." And he looks at you and says, "Well, I thank you for your efforts. Is there anything you should report to Thufir?"
Lots.
We have a few
Mishaps.
there are a few points that must be discussed, my lord, in suitable surroundings.
Well, if you'd like to go and make your report to Thufir, I'm sure if there's anything that needs to be brought to my attention, he will. Any further discussions can happen then. If you would just like to leave me for a minute with my beautiful bride, I will see you a bit later.
Just for a moment. I'm not saying that in character, by the way.
Oh, if she's going to kill him, it's now.
There's a few servants around. There's a few servants and guards.
There are so many thoughts going through my head. None of them good.
Yeah. And look, he's going to marry her, right? They're going to be alone together at some point. It's just...
Well, that's why I was wondering why it's just a minute. They can't do a quickie in a minute.
Oh, it's just this whole thing with the tablets. I'd be a lot
But-
more comfortable leaving the room.
What do you mean? What do you mean he can't do a quickie in a minute?
I mean,
That's the definition of the quickie, isn't it?
What do you mean he can't do a quickie in a minute?
I've done placebos, so
Yeah,
there's
I know.
no
She's got
poisoning.
she's got one shot of real stuff, hasn't she?
No.
No,
No, we swapped it.
The original one was
took care of
original.
that. Yeah,
Yeah,
That's
but
what-
we
Oh,
swapped
you swapped
it.
it out. You swapped it
because
out,
I was
yeah.
convinced
We swiped it.
that she was going to use it to probably use it on her family or something. Hence why she's like, "Oh, I need to go to the palace. I need to go to the."
Yeah.
So
So you leave the hall, leave her together with the Lord, and you make your way to.
Is there a as we're making our way out? Is there a member of staff nearby?
Yeah, there's services, guards all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah, I say to one of the guards, under no circumstances is he to be left alone with her.
You know what? These are technically my guards, right? Aren't they, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I will relieve one of them of
Get into
duty and
formation.
stand there. So come back
You-
in
you
10 minutes.
You're staying there.
You're
Yeah?
on break. You're on break for 10 minutes. I'm going to stand here. I'm going to take your post.
Okay, you're not gonna-
Our report might take a bit longer than 10 minutes.
I'm
I'll
sure
catch
she'll
you
be
up.
fine. She's used to being on her feet for most of the day.
yeah.
But I'll try and do it discreetly so that, like, because if I pick a guard post that's sort of behind or maybe up on a balcony or something, maybe she doesn't even notice that I'm still there.
Okay. So you Bertram and Darius, are you going off to make your report to the?
Yes.
Yes, okay, you do that. And Atomica, you take place of this guard, and he sort of like stomps off, and he's wondering what to do with his 20 minutes now, doesn't he?
Yeah, a 10-minute break.
Have
I'll
a
give-
break, relax.
So you go off, and Bertram and Darius, you find Thufir in his office. And when you knock on the door, he shouts, "Come in!" And he says, "Ah, you're back! Excellent. Let's hear your reports. Every detail you can," he says.
Where to begin?
My thoughts exactly, Darius.
We have a lot to say. We arrived. We met with the bride, who on the surface seems quite innocent, most unworldly. However, the Fenrings continue to be a thorn in our side. The Countess challenged Atomica to a duel, claiming that we had cheated in the defeat of her husband. We, of course, refuted this, and Atomica was quite willing to stand in good, honourable stead to defend her honour.
Good. I'm glad to hear it.
However, they did not show up.
They did
Oh.
not. Well, there are conflicting reports. The Bene Gesserits seem to suggest that she was merely unwell. We have heard from others, however, that the Countess had been injured. But as we were unable to see the Countess, we were unable to confirm either way. All we do know is that we arrived in good stead for the duel, and the duel could not take place, and Atomica, quite rightly, claimed honour, and the Fenrings are disgraced in that regard. I have a feeling that that may come back on us.
Yes, you're probably right. Enemy of the Fenring is enemy of the Emperor, I'm afraid. That's a very, very difficult situation. Is there any problems with the bride? Bertram, was there any medical issues?
Well, yes and no. She has a very good bill of health, and I checked her several times.
Okay, she's passed the medical good.
Yes, indeed. However, something that has been a little concerning is throughout the journey here, she was asking me for aids to help her sleep. However, quite quickly we deduced that she was not actually taking these aids.
I should imagine not. Bene Gesserit has no need of such crude
that's
drugs.
true. So I took the necessary precautions. I took back the serum without her knowing and replaced it with a placebo. And she has quite persistently asked for more. And every time I have also given her a placebo. I am quite concerned about what she's actually wanting to do with this medicine.
Yes, very, very well done. That's yes.
The journey back, however, I would love to have said was uneventful. However, that was anything but.
Darius, do you mind me interrupting and saying you also forgot to mention something quite fundamental in that the Bene Gesserits decided to mess with my brain?
Ah, yes. I am sorry, but I thought that was one that you would wish to make a report of your own.
I may do. However, given I don't remember a thing, that may be quite difficult.
Yes, I lift up my tunic to show my wound.
Oh, that was not done to you by Bene Gesserit, surely.
No, that was done. Well, it was done by the Bene Gesserits through a proxy.
Me.
A puppet, so to speak.
They pitched you against each other.
Well,
Most worrying. They do have powers that it's a bit unfathomable what they do and how they do it. No man is immune to it, I've heard.
and given what Bertram has said about the new brides insistent upon sleeping drafts, we are somewhat concerned for our Lord. However, several other things have happened.
Well, she also wanted to visit family members, which was my first theory as to what she wanted to do with these drugs. In the end, we've convinced her to bring them here instead, which she seemed happy with. So whether it is simply something innocent, for example, she has a sick family member and she knows that we do decent medicine, or it could be something else. We don't know yet.
One of them is the father, who, of course, I was hoping the Lord to meet, because we do have to finalize the terms of the dowry.
So we did that.
I
No.
can't remember.
Yes, I mean we can.
No, I negotiated. We didn't actually go. I negotiated on our way there. I don't think we actually went back to our Lord and actually.
Oh yeah, we haven't stamped it. Yeah.
We haven't rubber stamped it.
Yeah, so we need to.
All I've done is manage to secure what I think was the best deal.
Yeah.
We haven't got it. Haven't got it signed yet.
we could host a small party here. That's not too unreasonable.
Please don't invite the Fenrings.
No,
No, we'll just invite.
I,
We'll
I,
just
I would,
invite her.
yeah, I would consider the, I would consider making the Fenrings persona non grata. However, they are,
They're going to be at the wedding.
they're going to be at the wedding. They have made themselves. The Emperor is fond of them,
Yes,
so I
well,
cannot see them not attending the wedding.
he grew up with Kent Fenring. So yes, I'm sure he is. Yes, if they're well enough, they'll certainly be at the wedding. Certainly.
But we had a representative of the Landsrat come and meet us.
Oh, that's interesting.
A Caius, can't remember his surname.
Dice Metellus.
Gaius Metellus. He wished to meet with our Lord. He seems to believe that there are dark rumblings and that houses should come together. However, he refused to give any specific details, even to myself. I am wary. However, other information makes me want to at least have a meeting. We decoded a small message, and I hand Fufar the decoded message.
Mm-hmm.
This was from a Bible left by a member of House Atreides.
You met with House Atreides, on the ship.
Well,
is Atomica coming any time or not?
I'm curious. Like, I might leave early or something, but like, I really want to know how the initial interaction goes between these two before, because I'm worried she's going to use the voice on him.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm worried she has a plan, and I want to double check that she hasn't, basically.
Okay, before we get back to Darius, then we'll just do that bit quickly. It's a very quite formal and quite I don't know, distant meeting. They don't touch very much, and there's a lot of servants around, and they just generally have a chat. They take a turn around the room, and she's then sort of a few servants are instructed to take her off to her rooms. And she leaves, and nothing appears to have happened.
So, yeah, and I didn't notice. So if I've been obviously watching her like a hawk. If I didn't notice anything, then once she's gone, I will leave too.
You didn't. Okay. Back to Darius then. So he takes the paper from you and reads the note, and he says, "Well, the Bene Gesserit always have their plans that." It's always run separate to everything everyone else is doing. They have their own agenda. The Landsrat trying to sunder us from our Lord. And you met the Landsrat. Are they trying to separate us from the Emperor or from the Emperor's house?
I am unsure as yet as to their full agenda. Metellus was less than forthcoming. He didn't want to impart his fears, as he called them, to myself. He wanted to speak to our Lord directly and ask for me to try and get a meeting. I would suggest such a meeting, but more as an excuse for us to ascertain his motives.
I agree. I think that would be a good thing to do.
But the most serious and important charge is the fact that there was an attempt on the bride's life.
At what point? Let me know when I turn up.
Whenever you want, you can just come in
Okay.
when during the discussions anytime you want.
Right, then that seems an opportune moment.
Yep.
Atomica, please join the briefing.
Mhm.
In fact, Atomica here will be able to discuss the
The
circumstances.
Landsrad are planning a move against the Emperor. They want us on their side, and of course we shall string them along and not actually commit anything right up until we know who's going to win.
Mm-hmm.
I suspect that might be the reason behind the assassination attempt, because,
Assassination attempt. This is news.
well, the poisoning.
on the poisoning of the bride, or that attempted
Have you
bride.
really not brought him up to speed at all yet? Gosh,
I was
right.
just getting to the
Imbecile.
bit about the bride.
There was a lot
But
to
we've had
report.
10
Atomica.
minutes.
There's a lot of reports.
This is most troubling.
I was going there chronologically. It was one of the last things that happened.
What, so you started with the guild trying to poison everyone on the ships, how we made friends with the Harkonnens. No? Not
Well,
chronologically either, then.
We were
So,
talking about while we were there.
I thought you would want to bring him up to speed on that, considering how much you had to do with it.
well, it's mostly Burton for scanning the
It's-
drinks.
It's been
It's been an eventful journey, obviously.
that's the word I'm looking for.
Most
Eventful.
eventful.
I suspect the Landsrad don't want the wedding to happen. That would explain the ineptitude of the assassination as well, because whilst any of their houses might be very efficient, as an organisation, the Landsrad itself is, of course, clunky, cumbersome, and full of politics, and
Very true.
couldn't manage
very
an
true.
assassination.
There was, however, a murder aboard the ship. The young slave that delivered the meals. We discovered the plot very quickly, thankfully, thanks to Bertram's, and we asked for meals. We set in motion a ruse that the bride had indeed eaten some of the food and was very ill. The slave went to take the dishes away.
We did speak to, was it the head of the kitchen staff or the head of
Yes.
catering?
Yeah, there's a guild spokesman.
Guild spokesman,
Yes.
yes.
Who was all very shocked and surprised. But the young
bit
slave, the young slave was killed a short time after we last saw him.
He was stabbed in the back of the slip tip.
With a button from a House Atreides coat, rather conveniently in one of his pockets.
Which had spice on it.
This is quite interesting. You see, this message you say came from House Atreides.
Yes.
I made contact with House Atreides after discovering the button on the guys that we were covering up, that this information had been planted for them in order to make contact with them. You see, the button couldn't possibly have been genuine. The person was stabbed from behind, and yet the button was in their pocket.
Yes.
Absolutely.
However, an inept investigator would, of course, go, let's investigate House Atreides. So I took the button and used it as a ruse to make contact with House Atreides.
This is very well done. This is very well done. Any sort of alliance with a grand house is worthwhile.
Exactly, with the connection to the Atreides, with I wouldn't say a connection, but at least Harkonnens might kill a second, and with the and with the marriage into the royal house, we're perfectly positioned now to pick whichever side wins. In what the Landsrad, I believe, were talking about a change of ownership on Arrakis.
Yes.
Really?
that is why I think the Landsrat are worried that it will go, that the Emperor's going to take over it personally, and will then be a big fight and a tussle. And that is when we will sit on the sides and wait to see which side's winning.
This is very interesting. I will have to make a note. And you write saying I'll get some people to listen out for particular information around that. This next thing on the message about lies being poured into the ears of our Lord.
Yes, I was going to ask you about that. Who else speaks to our Lord?
I'm assuming that because Lord was used in the one above, they're talking about the Emperor rather than our Duke.
Well, that could explain why the necklace was stolen.
And what do you make of this friend's claim at the bottom? Is this Atreides trying to court us for?
Yes, well, they're obviously a key player in the Landstrad.
Betrayal of the Emperor.
Could be.
Wilderness could mean another minor house.
Okay, well, that seems to be quite a thorough report. Obviously, a lot happened. If you could write that up and send it in to me, everything you remember, all the detail you can.
I'm just deciding whether to mention the other things. I don't even know if I mentioned it to Darius or Bertin, to be honest, that it was me who did the hunter-killer thing.
I don't think you did.
I don't think you did, and even if you did, we've deliberately been vague about it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm certainly not going to tell him. I don't think there's no benefit to that.
There's
Okay.
I don't think there is any benefit. I think we look better if it doesn't look like we kicked off. Like I said before, that my worry was if it came back and bit us in the arse.
So
have faith in my dice pools.
before you go off to write your reports, can I ask your assessment of the new Duchess?
Don't trust it yet.
Whilst she seems on the surface, as I said before, a somewhat innocent, unworldly.
That's my problem.
Girl. There have been certain signs, the business with the sleeping drafts, the insistence upon seeing family at the royal palace, that do give us some cause for concern. It should be stated at the moment that those concerns may be entirely unfounded in the large scheme of things, but we do have cause.
The what if that I keep considering is, what if she's here to conceive and disappear, or conceive and then get rid of us, like plans for the bloodline, right? But still trapped to this house. I mean, the way she's acting, it's too fake. Which reminds me, I need to go and check the CCTV room. I'll be right back.
Bertie, what did you make of her?
Well, like I said, the fact she was persistently asking for sleeping drugs was suspicious, and she was doing multiple things that we all deem to be strange and peculiar and out of sorts. Although, again, she was something very nice to me. She has a very good bill of health, and I think on the whole she is genuine, but there are obviously things that she's not disclosing to us.
So, you'd recommend some heightened security, Atomica?
Atomica is after heightened security right now.
I would caution. I agree very much that we should have a heightened security, but if possible, to make it discreet.
She has no
Yes.
idea what the standing level of guarding is in this house.
No,
She's about to find that the pocket that moves around her is double what's in the rest of the damn palace.
which might yield her to conclude a somewhat unsubtle approach.
Could you, Darius, please arrange for the parents to visit, or maybe a short visit?
I will certainly arrange.
And doctor, can you keep an eye on her medical condition
Of course.
and
Two
any sort
eyes.
of drug requirements? She keeps asking if you could report.
I would
Yes.
insist, however, when the parents arrive, there should be a security detail attached to them at all times.
Certainly,
And-
that seems
and-
wise.
Just to reiterate, if I do find evidence that she genuinely needs sleeping drugs, then I will give them to her. But given
course.
what had happened, I felt it's necessary to retrieve them back.
Quite understandable. Yeah, very wise under circumstances. There's no reason a Bene Gesserit should be requiring narcotics to sleep.
Exactly.
Becky has a cigarette in her hand. Should we take a break?
Sure.
Sounds a good
That
idea.
wasn't a subtle hint.
Wasn't it?
No,
No.
it wasn't
it's
subtle.
obviously
It wasn't subtle at all.
Exactly.
Okay.
Actually, it's more
So
that I
is
need
that-
the loo, but yeah, okay.
See you in a bit.
So that's the recap done. Should we do the session now?
It was quite a recap, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, Steve's had a thought about the Bene Gesserit bride. But can't
has
ask
he?
because it might spoil something.
Ooh.
I have a thought about Scylla as well. I think she is a Scouser, and not a lot of people know that.
Silmarillion was actually far closer to her name originally, though, as it was
Yeah.
said. So that's the nickname I'm going with.
And
And
yeah,
just to check, she's definitely not a queen of the desert. As in Priscilla.
Yes. Did get that one.
I just yeah, between and the Bee Gees,
Take it.
they'll win again.
Dear me. I take it when you put your reports in, it's pretty much what you've already said, but you're leaving out the.
I'm leaving out
Hunter
the
Seeker.
assassination, but I will include that I bugged the Reverend Mother. I just will miss out the entire mission for the Hunter Seeker.
Is there anything else the other two want to leave out of the report?
No, other than the fact that if we didn't know about the Hunter Killer, then we have plausible deniability. If we do know about the Hunter Killer, I'm not mentioning it because it makes us look better.
Okay. So a couple of days later, you're summoned to the Duke's office. And you sort of all arrive at the same sort of time. It's sort of the door, meeting from different directions. And one of you knocks, and you're asked to come in. There are a couple of guards inside the door, and the Duke says, "Please come in and take a seat." And he dismisses the guards. They go and stand on the outside of the door. And he says, "Thufir tells me your reports were very thorough. It has opened up several lines of inquiry for him. It has actually made some sense of some information that he has been gathering. There seems to be a plot developing by another minor house, maybe to unseat us, maybe to make us unfavorable with the Emperor, maybe to take our place. I'm not entirely sure which. He has gone to confirm certain things about the Atreides. I would like you to take a mission on to confirm some information about House Evangelista."
Evangelista? Who are they? I'm asking as a player. I'm assuming the character knows.
Yeah, you do. They're another minor house on Kaitane.
Oh, okay.
Have we had a war with them before?
You've not had a war with them, no.
Okay. It's
Have we
about
lost a
time.
duel with them before?
You're sort of like semi-allies because you're all allied to the main house. You're all allied, but
They stepped on different people to climb up to the top.
effectively.
Got you.
Okay.
We need to find out information about this house. Thufir tells me that there's been several strange, uncharacteristic actions by them. They're purchasing information. They're spending an awful lot of money on informants. We need to find out what's going on before the wedding, preferably.
I see. Any of these informants close to this building?
There are undoubtedly some in Mazine, yes.
Excuse me.
That's our city, isn't it? Or is that the
Yeah.
capital? That's our
what you are,
city.
yeah.
Okay.
Whether you go to their city or you track down informants in this is entirely up to you. You know the best way to handle that. But
Possibly both.
we need to find out what's going on.
What intelligence do you have at the moment?
We have certain intelligence, and he passes you each some sheets of paper.
Okay.
And written on there is a list of suspected informants, and a list of suspected activities that Thufir has sort of been noticing in his intelligence reports, but has not been able to piece together before. And he says that from the top, the purchasing of information around the Emperor and the private goings on in the house. There's been extremely a lot of interest in our house's artifacts, especially things like the necklace, the inner workings of the house, the ex-concubine. There might even be some spies within the palace.
There's not many people that know what happened to the ex-concubine.
Indeed.
That narrows it down to about half a dozen guards. I check if any of their names are on the list.
Can you roll me a? Let me see. What have you got? What have you got? Have you got like you got a security something, haven't you?
Security systems, yeah.
Have you got any infiltration, espionage, observation, survival? I'm trying to look for some sort of like intelligence-based, not intelligence, but intelligent information, spy craft sort of a role. Security.
I could do a straight security role, but yeah, my specialization is systems, which I don't know if that really is going to. I'm not entirely sure what you're intending the role for, but I don't have any kind of. There isn't a spy skill, is there? There's kind of
subterfuge.
Subterfuge.
Yeah.
Do you have anything in subterfuge?
I don't particularly have subterfuge. I could do just a straight roll from my intellect.
I'll go subterfuge.
Oh, you got subterfuge.
I'll go subterfuge.
Oh, there'll be no harm in all three of you making the roll and see what you come up with.
Is it which branch of intellect are we looking for here? Logic or perception?
Logic, because you're piecing together bits of information.
Okay. 3.
Okay.
7.
7. Okay. 7. Darius, you recognise that one of the names on the list is a Samuta drug dealer. Samuta, Samuta is a drug that it works. The narcotic works with music to bring on the drug sort of trance and the feeling, which can be then manipulated by the type of music you're listening to. And Atomico, your roll of 3. You know one of the guards on the list has actually been dabbling in Samuta drugs that you've had to reprimand in the past.
And is this one of the guards that is in the privy to what happened with the concubine?
He's one on the list, yeah.
Okay. Right.
I would say that would be a link and a line of inquiry.
Mm-hmm. I'll be right back.
Bertram, the Samuta drug is very, very particular, it's quite specialised type of thing, because you have this auditory and narcotic mix. It's quite expensive. It's quite expensive. It's not that easy to come across the actual narcotic side of it. So you've not been asked for any. You've not seen any around the palace. So it's so wherever it's coming from, wherever this guy's coming from, it's not coming from you or any of your stocks or anything. You've not seen any of it.
No.
Okay.
No.
So what is Atomica doing?
Well, first thing is I'm going to go to that guard's station, the jailhouse it would be, because it would have to be, logically, for the plot. And I'm going to see if he's A, on duty, and B, when he is, and if he isn't, C, where he would be.
Okay, he's not, but he's currently in his quarters.
Okay. He lives on site.
Most of the guards are stationed within the building, yeah.
Okay, so there'd be like a barracks,
Yeah.
presumably. Okay. Then I shall head to the barracks.
Okay, this guy's a lieutenant, so he actually has a room of his own.
Okay.
Are you taking anyone else with you, or just go by yourself?
I'll go by myself.
Okay.
Unless Bertim might be useful, actually, in because his familiarity with the drug.
I'm happy to come.
Got a good narcotics knowledge.
Yes, I do. Very much so.
So yeah, you can go to the go over to the
Bloody
barracks.
hope so.
And you arrive outside this particular lieutenant's door, and you can hear music coming from inside the door, inside the room.
Bertim, is that a music that would be used with this drug?
And yeah, it is. It's not quite. It's not quite as tuneful as music you would normally listen to without the drug. There's a bit of a twang to it that the drug plays on.
I suppose it could be used. It's not a choice of my own.
Right. Boot door.
Okay.
I don't even check. I don't even try to open it. It's boot.
Okay. You kick the door open, and so there's several people inside the room. The guy. Obviously, you know the guy you're looking for because he's a member of your staff. He's seated in the middle of the far wall, sitting on cushions, and he's dressed. He's not in uniform. He's out of uniform. He's dressed quite comfortably, and around him there's several of his own little entourage around him. People he's got, and you can see, and the doctor notices he's got heavy lidded eyes. And the music in the face and the smell is very, very symbolistic of the Samuta drug.
Okay, these other people, are they all household staff, or is there anyone from outside?
No, they're all household staff. There's some military, and there are some servants.
Okay, and have they all got the eye thing, or do I not even notice that?
You might notice that. I don't know if you know much about the drug. If you want to make a drug or is it narcotics roll? Is it medicine?
It
Pharmacy.
is pharmacy.
I rolled 6, but drama die was 1. So
Okay, you know the drug, but you don't know anything about the actual which drug it is.
yeah, well,
It's Bertram that identifies it as Samuta.
Yeah, I can A to B on that. Right. I shoot the music player.
Oh dear.
Okay, and everyone sort of like starts snapping out of it really quickly.
Turn around, face the walls, hands behind your back now.
and they're sort of stumbling around, and they're sort of a bit sort of out of it, and they're not really complying, but they're not because they don't want to. It's just they're finding it a bit tricky to follow orders.
Okay. I think what we'll have to do here, Bertim, is we're going to have to extract him to an interrogation room. The rest of them, they all need to be marked up and detoxed before they can go back on duty. This is because I assume this drug isn't like legal within the house, is it? They're not meant to be doing this. As she said, I reprimanded this guy before for it. So, yeah. So I guess we'll call some guards in. Do you? We'll just call some guards in. Let them handle everyone else.
Okay. Is Bertram going to administer any sort of antidote or anything to speed up their detox?
Sure. Yeah, why not?
Okay, so you can, as Atomic is leading away this lieutenant, you can, as the guards start handcuffing the remaining people, you can start injecting them some stuff to bring them around, snap them out of it. And then you can follow Atomica back to this interrogation room where you've got this guard, this lieutenant.
Just dragging this lieutenant by his neck, by the collar, toward the interrogation room. I'll throw him in the room, and then, grab a chair for Bertim, and we'll sort of sit down. And there's no desk, right? It's just we got a couple of chairs, and I've thrown him in the corner.
Okay, so he's looking pretty scared at the moment, and he's sort of like he's rapidly coming out of it because the shock is sort of bringing him out of the drug-induced trance quite quickly. You go, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Well, you have sold information about our house. What I need to know is who to and exactly how much. I mean, I know who the information ended up with. I want to know the middleman.
Well, I've not sold any information. That's a lie. Who's been saying that?
The question is whether you are consciously aware of it or whether it was all whilst you were under the effect of that bloody drug, which I need to remind you were on final warning for and have just breached.
Well, if I tell you what you need, can you give me another chance? I don't.
You'll live.
I don't want to be dismissed if I tell you what you need.
Start talking.
Are you trying to bribe her?
Well, I just, I never intentionally did it. It's just sort of one of those sort of things.
A loyal member of staff would already have reported this, that they'd have reported their slip-up. So, talk.
There was a person that was willing to trade some Samuta drug for a little bit of harmless information, but house gossip, that's all.
Harmless information.
Who and what? Specifics.
My contact for the drug is I couldn't afford any more drug, and I went to him and asked, and he said that he could give me some if I just pass some information.
What's his name?
We know the name actually already, don't we? It's it was on the list, so I say the name. Other one?
Yes, that's him. Yes. How did you know him? Have you come across him before?
Exactly what information did you impart?
Just general sort of gossip. Really? about how the house is wants to return to Salusa Secundus, and just general things like that about the concubine and I forgot what she's called now. Kira or something, was it? Kalia Varinus. Just general stuff. I can't remember really.
Well, those two bits of gossip are both classified information.
It seemed harmless at the time.
Yes, at the time.
It didn't do any harm, did it? No, I mean,
Well, people have died.
The Duke's getting married now, so he's not worried about the concubine now anyway.
Not the point.
People have died.
People have died. Who's died?
I'll tell him the story of the of how he is personally responsible for the feuds against the house, and the serving slave who died as a result of his transgression.
And he starts shaking his head. No. That wasn't a result of that. That's it can't have been. I never imparted any sort of information of that sort of value.
And the feuds are because we want to move the house. As for the information regarding the concubine, that is also classified. So so we know what they've got now. We know where it's come from, and everything else. We don't really need this guy for anything else. What's the withdrawal time, the cold turkey time, essentially, for this drug?
Oh, maybe it's going to be 12 to 24 hours, depending on the person.
I mean, to break an addiction or a habit.
To break an addiction. Oh, it's going to be a few days. It's going to be a week.
Okay. Well, you're going to spend 2 weeks in this cell.
2 weeks?
To break your addiction.
No, it'll kill me. I can't do that.
Well, the other option is you walk out this cell door right now and I shoot you. I'll let you choose the weapon.
You choose the weapon you get shot with.
Brutal.
You will be breaking this addiction. You asked me to continue working in this house, but you will not do so whilst you're addicted to that drug.
He looks at Bertram because you've got to give me something. You just can't let me go cold turkey.
I'm not a vending machine.
He sort of succumbs. Oh, okay. If it's that or death, well, it's not much of a choice.
No, not really.
And if you really want to serve the house, you will, of course, tell me all the other people in your cabal, who they are.
He names a couple of people in the room with him that you had in this little clique.
We already have those, but I suggest we do the same with all of them. We'll put them for 2 weeks in isolation.
Yeah.
Forced cold turkey.
The cells are filling up.
They are a bit. But that's okay. We got plenty from our previous wars. We haven't had one for a while, so they can make number plates, for which the galaxy is so proud.
What we can do, of course, is I suppose we could elongate it, get them to the point where they've nearly kicked it, then let them shoot up, and they have to kick again.
It's just
I'm trying to save their careers. I mean, obviously, the guy's never going to be a lieutenant again, but I'm trying to for him to still be a functioning part of society, rehabilitation. It's just not in a spa.
Well, you certainly can't be front line for us now.
No,
Compromised completely. Well, even if he could regain his loyalty, the detox from the drugs will weaken his body anyway. He's not going to be much fucking good on the front line anyway.
So he says, I could help. I could be of service to you in capturing this guy, the dealer.
Yes, you're going to provide all the information about where to find him, etc. What you know about him, absolutely everything you're going to tell us.
He's going to be quite nervous if he sees someone he recognise turning up.
Oh,
Well,
I
that's no
am
problem.
well aware that I might use you later. But you asked me to live through this experience, and I'm going to try and help you do that.
He's like, it's not hold this shield and stand over there and think time, isn't it, really?
And in tonight's episode of The Twilight Zone, the part of Rod Sterling will be played by...
So he's okay, and he writes down contacts, times, dates, places, that sort of stuff for you.
Okay.
His name of this contact is called Salu.
Okay. So once we've done with him, we've got all the information we can, and we've left, and we'll meet back up with Darius. So my thinking, like, we could use that guy to get in, but I don't really want to. I don't trust him. I don't want him to make a break for it. I'd rather we actually do what we said I wanted to do, which is like to help these people continue to function, and that means getting them, kicking the habit and stuff. Now that means I think our first attempt then to make contact with this guy, perhaps we don't actually do it face to face. Maybe we try something more subtle. We observe him rather than talk to him, maybe.
Mm-hmm. If you want to do that, he's told you that this Salu is down by the docks. And he frequents a number of like drinking establishments, bars down at the docks, and he sells on a particular corner. So you could watch him if you wanted to there.
Because what we want to do is we want to establish a link between this guy and this house. What were they called? House
Evangelista.
Evangelista.
Evangelista. Because once we've done that, we've got our proof, right?
Yeah.
So if we can do that by observing him without making contact, great. If we have to prod, then we've got the option of our addicts.
Okay. So you can use like the city web cameras, CityNet cameras to observe, or do you want to do it personally?
I think we need to set up some additional microphones and things like that, because whenever he meets someone, it's not going to be sort of on the street in front of a camera. It's going to be in a private room. So we need to understand, I guess, the layout of his den.
Okay.
And I've got to do a Benny Jesuit school on it, I guess, and put mics in through the walls or something again, because I think we need to get we need to get ears inside, basically. So whenever he meets his contact, and his vehicle, his home, not just his den, we need to establish all of this. This guy has to have like the biggest electronic profile in the history of the planet. That's what we need to achieve.
Okay, so you first off, then you identify who he is. The information you've got is correct. And you can see him. He stands on and near a corner in the dock district, and then as people approach him, he leads them into a bar, and you can see just by general observation that he tends to use a particular booth at the back of this bar.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to be fairly well. It's at the back, so it's fairly well isolated from the rest of the bar, and there is a curtain that he can pull around.
Okay.
Deals.
And this is technically our city, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we could do like a health inspection type thing on that bar out of hours, and then replace some components on that table.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you could certainly. Yeah.
The other thing, does the bar have sort of closed circuit television as it is that we can tap into?
Not in that private booth. He's obviously
No,
paying.
I just mean in the main bar.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Right, because the one thing, the other thing we're going to note before we go in is who's watching the booth, because he'll have men in the bar.
Yeah.
Okay. So as you view when you go in to replace components in this on the table and as undercover as your health inspection, are
Yep.
you viewing the CCTV then?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
we can do.
So you can tell that he has got a couple of people sitting on a table just outside the booth, in front of the booth. A couple of bit of muscle.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's usually the same two. They look quite capable, quite big, quite muscly.
All right. So I'm actually tempted to that table itself. Can we rig that up to deliver several tens of thousands of volts?
Tens of thousands of volts.
I don't know how you would get power to it, to that sort of level. A big thick cable running across the floor to it.
What kind of table is it?
It's just a normal table. It could be metal and wood.
No, I was thinking. What I was thinking was, is it the kind of table with the four legs, or is it one of those tables that's got the sort of central stand and is just got a
So it's the four
topple?
leg type.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Central stand would actually have worked really well for to pass a cable under and through. You could have wired that up quite nicely if it had a central stand on it. Little difficult to do with four legs.
But how do you get it to the table?
We've got to, do some stuff with the pipes under the floors.
Absolutely.
Anyway, we'll riddle the place. We'll riddle the booth with cams and mics.
Yep.
Sort of build it into the furniture because if we're going in out of hours, so we can spend time to do a really good job concealing everything.
Because the way I see it, yeah, we might get information out of this guy, but if he's got bodyguards, they will have seen everyone he's dealt with, probably heard everything. They'll know his business as well.
It's a good point. But what I'm more concerned about is when we catch him talking to the person up the chain, that person up the chain we also might want to apprehend. That being the case, we might need to deal with these bodyguards, which is why I was thinking it might be good to have the option of electrocuting their table.
I'd be all for it. As I say, if it had been a table, if it had been a kind of bar table with a central stand, then getting the cable up there and rigging it to the table would have been actually not impossible.
It's very targeted, you see. It's very
not impossible.
Because you could I don't know, put a grenade in the table or something, or a bomb or a bit of plastic explosive or something, but you don't want to do that because it's a bar. It's full of innocent people, right? But electrocuting the table is just going to hit them.
I can just see it when just before Atomica goes in, all the lights and on the block sort of flicker.
But yeah, though, I mean, yeah, if we need to deal with them, then we deal with them. But they could also yield us some information as well.
So yeah,
if nothing else, but to confirm what we get off the dealer.
You can bug the booth quite easily. Take the little buttons out of the cushions and put a bug in the back of the button and push it in, and maybe the light, and put a camera such and such. You can get that set up overnight because you've got all the kit. You've got access to as much stuff as you want, really. So you're just going to observe for a period, are you?
Yeah, we'll start with that. Well, basically, we've got to do this before the wedding, right? When's the wedding?
Oh, the wedding's going to be a while, yeah. I mean,
Okay,
Gareth has got to arrange the visit first and the final.
Exactly, and I can stall that a couple of days. Just on travel times and bureaucracy and so on. I can stall it without stalling.
Well, I'm just worried because like surveillance operations can take a while, can't they? But it just depends when this guy turns up. The person we want, which is whoever is passing information to. And what, of course, we need is some fresh bit of juicy information for him to pass. But I want more than his booth bugged when we get that. So does he have a transport vehicle?
Oh, the guy you're watching, you mean?
Our target, yeah.
Yeah, you can do. Yeah, he can have a grand car.
Okay, so I'm bugging the fuck out of that as well.
Right.
And his house.
His contact, the one that is, the next guy up the chain. Yes, we need to get them. Right? Not questioning that. We need to get everyone involved. But do we wait to see where that person goes, where the next link is? Next link in the chain, and then get them.
Who that person is.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I have a feeling no one high up in that house is going to find themselves in a booth in a dingy bar. They're going to send an intermediary.
Well, they're going to send someone like us.
But
we're senior enough that would be.
Yeah. It's we need to nab them, but I would be very interested to see who's next in the chain first.
Are you releasing this lieutenant
not yet
to pass information on for you, or
no?
Not yet. Not yet. We got to get so we got this guy's car bugged. We got his booth bugged. I also want to get his house bugged.
Yeah, I mean you can do that because you've got time to get that arranged.
Okay. So once everything's bugged, I then the next thing we want to put in place before he even contacts this person is we want to have basically a load of our men with guns stationed in a building somewhere nearby, out of uniform. Just occupying that building so that it feels normal when we do the sting. And then we have to arrange the sting by getting information to him that they'll want to pass.
That's easy enough for you to do because, as you said, this is basically your city. You're in charge of the guards. So that's fairly easy for you to arrange that.
Yeah. So
we could put it down as office clearance or something.
I mean, you can even have them in lorries stationed nearby if you wanted to.
Yeah, I could do that too. But yeah, so once we've got sufficient, they'll be in that lorry a long time, so probably better a building. But anyway, nearby. Once all that's in place, we've got everything set up for the sting. We need to actually feed him some false information, and then we've got to figure out what's it going to be.
So you can watch him for quite a while, and he generally just makes deals on the streets, comes back in, sells, and passes out. And you'll see that sometimes that he takes the money, but as the people walk past the two bodyguards, they'll pass them the packet on the way out.
Okay. I'm curious, actually, if any palace staff that we haven't picked up yet uses services. In fact, I'm curious. I actually want to database everyone who uses this service for future use, because these are people we could exploit. Are there anyone on the Emperor's staff or this other house?
You do actually see a couple of our staff members actually use him. Yes.
Okay. That's for future reference. Let's organize a couple of cells for their detoxing.
Yep. And I might actually pick one of them for. Is there anyone that actually hasn't got a very high rank who does it, because like where would they find the money?
Well, I mean, there could be do you see one particular one is a servant that you've noticed around the house before, and you think they might have been stealing things to sell for money to pay for the drug habit.
Okay.
I mean,
So-
anyone can sell information. That's what he's after.
Right. I think we pick up this new servant then. We'll use this one.
Okay, yeah, you can. What, you stopping him on the way back into the palace?
Once he's in the palace.
Yeah.
Once he's in the palace. Yeah. Okay. So he's traveling. He's walking from the servant's door to his quarters. Walking along the corridor, quite normal.
With me, young Jeremy.
Yes, certainly, madam. How may I help you?
This way to the interrogation room.
Interrogation room. Is there something I can help you with?
Well, yes. Once we're in the interrogation room, so all this stuff you've stolen to pay for your drug habit.
I don't know what you mean. What stuff?
How are you paying for your drug habit?
And at that stage, he sort of breaks down and, no, you're right. I can't stop. I've been betraying the house for so many years. It's just
Right. So, to pay for your next batch, you will be selling information.
Oh, if you say so.
Yes. Now, what should we have them sell?
It has to be it has to be something subtle. The kind of thing a servant would have heard. So it can't be anything particularly, it'd have to be something that you could plausibly say came down the whispers.
Well, what are we trying to achieve with this passing of information?
Well, what if? Well, first of all,
It's got to be juicy enough that it'll make contact.
it has to be believable, but it has to be worth something. But also, what if we lose control of it? So it's got to be something that actually helps us achieve our goal. What if the rumor around the house was actually that that Fenrin was drugged, but actually it was a combat additive because Atomica finds him boring, otherwise finds opponents boring if they're not drugged, which is utterly rub it in. No, because that wouldn't be believable.
No.
It would be nice to sting the Fenrings again, though.
I have a feeling that there will be ample opportunity for you to stick the needle in, so to speak.
Yeah, but I mean, this could be a good opportunity to do it. Oh, something believable. What if the rumor we pass on is that? Oh no, because then it still makes us look bad. We need something that actually doesn't make us look bad.
No, it's not necessarily that it makes us look bad. It's something that would be titillating enough for the drug dealer to want to pass on, but is completely deniable.
Well, what you're thinking is that the drug he's passing on information that's other houses using to try and separate you from or diminish your place as minor house within the family.
How about something subtle of the fact that our Lord has some doubts about the marriage. Nothing more than that. There are whispers that he has some doubts
What?
about whether he wants to go ahead with the marriage.
Why not actually do it something based in truth? What if the reason for it is this thing with the sleeping pills?
Mhm.
Yep. As long as it's got to be yeah. As long as it's something that sounds like a servant would have heard on the old staff grapevine.
Yeah, like it's not so like the wedding isn't off per se, yeah, but there's this whole thing about the sleeping pills, and the Duke is really angry over it and thinks it's been sold a dud.
Yeah.
Well, that she's not really a Bene
Not
Gesserit.
very Jesuit, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
If that's what you want to go with.
it's just it's enough to be titillating that they would want to that the drug dealer will want to pass it on to his contact. But it's completely deniable by us, so our house doesn't lose face. So we won't look bad in it at all. In fact, they will look bad if they try to bring it up, because we'll say, "What? We're rubbish. When's on? What are you talking about? We're up. We're running." That being the case, then any wedding plans I'm making will be of the quietest notion, the kind that can't get to the staff.
Right. So that's what we'll get them to pass on. How often would they normally be between buying though?
It could be any sort of period, really. I mean, this person would probably do it whenever they could possibly afford it.
If the addiction is kickable within a week, then it's going to be every few days, isn't it? At most,
yes,
possibly a day to take.
But also, he said it himself. He's the servant's living sort of hand over fist. So we could, the idea of him being desperate that this information, this will tide me over, this will get me enough to tide me over till I get money again. This is gold. This is going to get me some serious stuff. You could sell that notion without it being over complex.
Is that what you want to go with?
Yep, we're going to go with that. I mean, a part of me is saying thinking maybe we should get the lieutenant, but the thing is, it's already a few days into his detox, and I'd rather he finished it.
Because I mean, well, there's I would say if we're going to use the lieutenant, we wait till he detoxes, because whilst he's detoxing, yes, he's going to look desperate enough, but he won't be able to sell it.
Are you going to?
You need someone who can actually keep their head and sell it.
Okay. Are you going to give the servant any sort of reason why he's selling? A reason to sell information? Are you going to say that he's heard?
In order to get more drug.
Okay.
Yeah, you've heard that he'll take information for the drugs from another servant, and you learnt this. Could that get him more?
Okay, so you don't release him, but you take him down to the area and release him close by, I assume.
Yeah, it would be like the following day because he's already just got some that day. But yeah.
And he approaches the guy on the street corner again, and he doesn't even speak. He just sort of, as he walks close, he turns around and walks back into the bar and walks straight to his booth and sits down. And the servant walks in, crosses the bar, he nods to the barman, and as he approaches the booth, he pulls the curtain around and sits down. And you're all watching on your CCTV and your speakers and monitors and stuff. And he says, I need some more stuff. That didn't last long. I need more. I'm desperate. So he said, well, you're not usually that flush with cash. How are you gonna? Can you pay? Well, I've got information. It's a really juicy bit that should be able to get me some. Should be able to get me something. It's really important. And he tells you, goes through and he says it's about the new bride and this potential, I don't know, addiction to sedatives, or and then the Duke is pretty unhappy about it, and even this guy, the drug dealer called Salu, always thinks, oh, perhaps there's another sale to be made here. We might be able to get something. So he says, okay, I'll give you maybe a couple of days worth for that sort of information. If you can come up with more information, something a bit more juicier, something a little bit, a bit more detailed with the inner workings of the house, you could possibly get a bit more. So he said, oh, that's really good. Anything I can find, I'll come back with. And he leaves the booth and he stops by the table on the way out with the two bodyguards, picks up a small package and then leaves.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy Sarah comes out of the booth and stops and talks to his two guys at the table, and he moves to a communications device on the wall and makes a call.
Is that in range at all of any of our bugs?
Yeah, well, I'm sure you'd have thought to bug the phone while you're in there. And he makes a call within the city, and he says, "I've got some juicy information." He says about the wedding. It might not go ahead. And the Duke's unhappy with the bride. He's not even sure she's a Bene Gesserit because she's taking drugs to sleep, and she might even be addicted to sedatives. So, can you make use of that information? That's got to be worth a decent payment. And he goes, well, you keep giving us information, and we'll make our usual payment into your bank account.
Okay. Are we able to trace the call?
Yeah. Well, you operate the city net, so yeah, you can trace the call. And you trace it to just a nondescript house on the outskirts.
Okay.
The house is being rented in the name of a guy called Asel.
So the question then is, how many troops turn up?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This guy Asel he rented the house maybe a month and a half ago.
Mm-hmm.
All the rent's paid on time. Is not doesn't seem to work from what your information you can gather, but all the bills are always paid on time.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So what we need then is leverage on that guy, because he might be an intermediary, or he might, he might be loyal to the house, whatever. So we need some leverage on him. So what we'll do then, we'll leave a crew in place with this observation thing, because I want to get all of our rodents out from our palace. So I want to lift basically everyone before we take this drug dealer down. We won't hit the drug dealer until we dealt with the other guy, but his days are numbered. And then in future, we'll be running the drug operations in this city.
I take it Burton's going to be busy now running some sort of anti-drug program and checks in the house.
Well, I mean, we've already seen. Well, in terms of finding out if there's any more addicts, we could actually do that in a slightly different way. We can ask for the particular people that we've already seen, and then send a message throughout the entire household that the reason they were sent for is because they were addicted to a particular substance. We have the names of everyone else. If they will, they will escape censure if they will come forward immediately, and see if anyone else actually just turns up for fear of losing.
And just turns himself in.
Yeah,
Just play. I think. I think you play a little smarter than that, because they're you're dealing with addicts, and you gotta it'd be. I don't think anyone's gonna like turn themselves in if they don't think you're already coming for them. I don't think saying we gathered all of these people, but we left you out. We want to come through,
Also, in the meantime, Darius, you've got to arrange for this girl's family to visit.
yes. I'm going to deliberately, to use a poker term, I'm going to slow roll. On that. I'm going to write the appropriate papers, but I'm going to go off and have to do something else, and so I don't get back to it for a little while. And basically, I'm going to stretch it out for a few days, which gives them time in their surveillance. But ultimately, yeah, we need to get the family. A, because she's asked for them and we did say we would. And B, because we still need to rubber stamp the dowry. Or nothing's happening.
Okay. So you can put off the documents for a while.
Yeah. My report would actually also have included the details of that dowry meeting as well.
No, I'm sure it will. Yeah.
Because we need to go. Yeah, okay.
Well, I mean, he's keen to marry into the another connection to the royal house anyway.
The dowry wasn't bad. I don't see why he wouldn't why he wouldn't approve. But
no, but I'm more. Given the information he now has about the bride, he might think that he should get a little more.
Well, I think Benny Gesserit bride comes with a certain amount of subterfuge, really, on that side, anyway. But yeah, that's fine. Bertin, Atomica's been doing her surveillance and bugging and stuff. One of the maids for the bride to be has come to you and is again asking for sleeping drafts.
Okay.
We need to get to the bottom of that, don't we?
Yes, it keeps happening. Okay, I say to the maid, I would like to speak with Our Lady and maybe do an examination, because such medicines are only supposed to be taken on a short-term basis. I'm concerned if she is either becoming addicted or there is some underlying problem I need to ascertain.
Okay, I'll pass the message on, and we'll probably arrange some sort of appointment with you.
Very well. But at the moment, I'm not comfortable giving any more to her.
Okay, I shall tell her. She says that you don't want to give any more drugs without some sort of examination.
Correct.
Just to check that she's okay with what you're giving her.
Well, no, more to the point. Like I said, these
it's not doing any harm.
No, but they should still not be taken for a long period of time.
Mm-hmm.
There's too much risk.
Sure. Okay, so she'll go as well and relay that message back. Now, what are you going to do with this house with this guy in?
What do you reckon, Darius? Should we just storm it, arrest him, and get Bertim's truth drug in him?
Always relying on the truth drug.
Or truth drug?
It might become necessary. I'd like to see if we can avoid that, unless it becomes absolutely necessary. But I'm not ruling it out.
We need to set up observation on this guy. We need to know his movements. And
Yeah.
I think, actually, what he needs, depending on what his movements are, it's some kind of accident where he disappears in an ambulance and wakes up in an interrogation room. So it looks like he hasn't been sort of ganked by 200 police. He's had an accident. It's been taken to a hospital or some kind, and then it's, oh, where am I? You vanished. You no longer exist.
You used to work in East Berlin. Did you?
Wow.
Middle name Stacy.
Walking down Checkpoint Charlie every morning.
How refreshingly communist of you. No, I mean the idea is solid, but we'd have to if we're going to do the ambulance, it's going to have to be set up and run on clockwork.
Oh yeah.
It's got to be timed to perfection.
Yeah. Well, the first thing, of course, is get his phone on tap. In case he's reporting back with that, I doubt very much he is.
Okay. So you can do all that. You can watch the house. You can tap the phone. The only calls made to the phone are coming in. There's no phones going out.
Yeah.
Okay. You watch the house, but the only trips out he makes is basically for food.
Okay. Is that walking or by car?
Walking. He walks as short a distance as possible to a shop, buys bare minimum, to be quite honest, not very much at all, and walks back home, and that's basically all you see of him.
Does he ever cross the road?
He'll cross the road, yeah. He must have to cross the road to do it, yeah.
Right, let's do it.
So who's driving? One of your guys, or?
Yeah, we'll have it arranged that he's hit by a high-speed two-wheel vehicle in such a way that he is injured, but not killed.
Oh, you want to clip him?
Yeah. So that's why I think we go for a motorbike rather than a car. So it's got a bit less mass. Yeah. So we want to hurt him. We want to genuinely injure him, so that he needs an ambulance. And then when the ambulance comes, it's going to be crewed by yours truly, Bertim. That's it, is it? 'Cause you've got two EMTs in an ambulance.
Are you going to, Darius, are you then going to investigate the house then? Were these two taken back to?
Yeah, Darius can check the house with a security team.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine then. Okay, we can do
Have
that.
a security team sweep the rooms first or something, but
Yeah.
so we get the facts.
Yeah, this is unfortunately the only time where the driver of the motorcycle actually fumbles his role in clipping him, and we find out that the guy's nuts have been caught in the chain of the motorcycle,
Ouch.
and he's been castrated
Doesn't sound very pleasant.
because the motorcyclist rolled a 1 on his drama die and castrated the poor guy, who is quite happy to sing to us, although his vocal cords are now somewhat several octaves higher.
That's fine. Just do Jackson covers.
I'm gonna.
Woo!
Oh, okay. So I've rolled some dices for the accident. Some dices for the accident. Dices, precious.
See, that's because he's thinking of a castration thing, getting just dices through his.
Ha ha.
So I've rolled a 6, and the drama die was a 6.
Oh,
Ooh,
That is extremely.
Ooh.
So yeah, you
efficient and then some.
whoever picked the guy has picked a real daredevil on a motorcycle. He knows what he's doing. He
oh,
picked-
like we did to that other guy 2 months ago. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we
picks his-
trained for that one now.
he picks this moment just as the guy's looking. He just steps off the curb, just looks the opposite way, and he just as he looks back, he clips him. This assailant spins in the street for a second before hitting the floor. Then the motorbike obviously then speeds off. Some people rush over, and a call is made, and obviously you've got an ambulance on standby a couple of streets away to rush in and pick him up. As you and Burton jump out of the ambulance to put him onto a stretcher, Darius pulls up outside the aforementioned house with one of Atomica's security teams, and break the door down and enter. Darius, inside, the house is fairly dark. The curtains are drawn or shuttered, with shutter windows. There's
Get some lights on.
minimal furniture.
Get some lights on.
There is no ornaments or anything around the house. I say minimum furniture. You do find in one of the back rooms upstairs is a fairly large communications kit.
Ooh. I see.
There's a few there's some paperwork in the corner of that room. There's a bed, and a chair, and downstairs there's like a few pots and pans and a few plates dirty, and that's basically all that's in the house.
This isn't a house; it's a bloody crash. It's like the kind of house they put undercover officers in. A crime, you know, it's not a place to live. It's where they go to do their job. It just looks all suburban.
Yes.
Burton, can you roll me a first aid or a medical, whichever you fancy doing? Is it medical?
Sure.
To save
Medical
his poor scrotum.
Yeah, I've got first aid of injury, which is probably the best. Yeah, because
Okay.
Medical's just got surgery. Presumably that would be logic, would it, under intellect?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, in total I got an 11, but I got a 1 on the drama die.
Okay. So you examine him. He has injured. He did the motorcycle driver did quite a good job. He just clipped him to spin him around, but he did crack his head on the way down when he hit the floor. You bandage him up, but you for some reason you're a bit off today. You didn't do a very good job with the bandage. It's not your best work by a long shot.
This is the older tape.
Yeah, the old tape. It doesn't
quite
it's
work.
lost.
Sorry, it's just what was in the ambulance.
It's lost its sticky. But you've sort of like you have stabilized him. He's not gonna die or anything, but he's a bit concussed. So you have stabilized him for that, and you can get him loaded into the ambulance and scream him off to Tonka's interrogation room.
Where he'll wake up with a nice headache.
Yes, he'll wake up with a nice headache, strapped to a chair, with Bertram about to inject him with truth serum.
Yeah, that works. I mean, I was going to go for chains, not straps, but you know, it's more dramatic. Feels a bit more East German.
Wow.
And tonight's episode of Dune is sponsored by Stasi International.
That's terrible, isn't it?
Well, straps are a bit easier for a tourniquet. So.
You're right into this interrogation bit, aren't you?
Okay.
Character is a guerrilla warfare expert. I mean, come on.
Yeah. So you keep Burton on hand to make sure the interrogation isn't too vigorous and goes too far.
To be, just to say, I do have a little bit of experience in interrogation. It's not much.
Yeah,
but
actually,
I
you
do
might
have
well want to leave it, to be honest, in terms of talking to him. I'll be the nice cop. I took the last interrogation. You take this one.
You could well do, yeah, you could well do.
It's
If
not
you know,
brilliant,
I mean,
but
you could almost interrogate him with drugs, really.
yeah.
Give him stuff that causes pain, relieve the pain, back again. You know, you could.
Okay, well,
God.
yes, you can be the good cop, I guess.
Did you say two can be the good cop?
I said you can be the good cop.
Oh, I see. Yeah, no, that makes more sense. Okay, I'll be nice to him.
So, what are we trying to find out from this one again? Like the new information?
Right, who else is reporting to him and who is he reporting to? That is ultimately what we want. Bonus points for getting what he's reported back.
Okay.
You do understand. You do understand. Just as a player, I'm a little bit concerned that the person who has been espousing Stasi tactics for the last 20 minutes has now said with an absolutely straight face, "I can be nice to him."
Yeah.
There you go. So,
Yeah. I roll not charm, I'll roll my interrogation skill. Good cop.
what do you
Cross-pollination of skills. Sorry.
what do you want to ask him, Burton?
Basically, that stuff. So, yeah, the main ones are who's reporting to.
But you have given the truth, sir, haven't you? Yeah.
Yeah, I would have given them that straight away, but I would have definitely made a point of filling up another syringe with something else, probably not particularly harmful, but I'm going to say, talk about how, yes, well, the pain of this one can be very slow and induces over 5-6 hours, sometimes 8 if you've got quite a good immune system. And the pain can last a very long time.
So he's you can see we're looking at him, he's taking on board everything you're saying. He knows he's in trouble because obviously he's strapped to a chair in a darkened room. And he nods to you and says, "Oh well, I'm not going to tell you anything."
See, lots of people use knives, blades, other things to mutilate, but I prefer to mutilate from the inside.
Ooh.
These serums, they go into the body, your nervous system starts spasming up. It doesn't know how to deal with the pain. It starts eating everything away. Even if you do survive, it can cause a lot of long-term damage to your motor neurons.
Okay, can you roll me an interrogation roll?
Yeah. Yeah, Burton can be creepy too. Right.
That is creepy, actually.
Interrogation. I was charisma, isn't it? Yeah. So, presence, I guess, would it be?
Yes.
Presence. Okay, nothing amazing on the drama die. However, I did get. I got a 7.
A 7, which is it's a pass. It's a moderate pass. So yeah, he's sort of like, when you start talking about how this drug is going to sort of like start burning him inside and causing pain over hours and hours, he sort of like, he does loosen up a bit and says, "Well, you must know I'm passing information back to my house." He said, "That's obviously why you're doing this. So you already know the answers, really. I'm passing it back to House Evangelista."
What are you passing back to them?
Just information, just intel on the House Shavona. I can't remember what it's called now. Shavona.
What sort of intel?
Any intel, anything that can be used to destabilize or discredit your house.
At least you're being honest.
I can't help it, can I? You just...
I know I have many different concoctions up my sleeve. What was the bonus point thing again you said, babe?
Well, there's two more things. So secondary objective is who's reporting to him, so we can clean up. And then
Yeah.
bonus points for finding out what exactly has been reported back.
Yes.
Okay.
Which I'm hoping the paperwork at that listening center is going to give us some idea of as well.
Okay, so when you ask him, he gives you quite a full report on. He's obviously reported back on how the Duke would feel about losing this necklace, this family heirloom, about how the house wants to move back to Sluice Secundus, problems within the household, any sort of fractions within the staff. Obviously, the fact that the Duke wanted an heir and was very keen on advancement for the house. So they found a way. They tried to find a way of eliminating his concubine and putting someone else in. Darius, you going for the paperwork back at the house?
Yes.
Okay, so you can see that he's been asked recently. On top is that he's been asked to find out information to do with the recent mission off planet for a certain few people, and anything that could again discredit the house. Anything they could use to discredit you or sow discord with inside the house.
Okay. Does it have any names in particular?
No, it doesn't particularly have any names. No.
I'm going to take the. I'm going to take the paperwork.
He's hit the wrong button, isn't he?
Oh, what a numpty.
You're not taking the wrong paperwork. Your action achieves 0. Nothing happens.
Yes,
Turn null.
I did
Will
it
you stop
again.
that?
I
Right.
did it again.
Right.
Hello, Duke.
Right.
I left Duke.
I'm going to do this more gingerly so the GM doesn't run off again.
Quit.
I'm taking all the paperwork in a gentle fashion so that you don't leave. Listening center, this. Does it record everything? Does it look like it records things?
It possibly does. You've got the Atomica security team with you, so they could investigate that if you want to.
I want them to. If it does record, I want the recording found. I want a detailed list of everywhere it's listening to. Is it merely a way station? Do they have listening devices in all kinds of places? And if so, where?
Okay. I mean, you quite easily read what wavelengths it's transmitting on.
Yeah.
Okay. And it can be.
We're here on 275 and 285 in the.
Yeah. Can you roll me observation? Which is intelligence, perception, perhaps?
Yep. I certainly can. I have a 1 in observation. So, da, 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 da. That was quite shite. I only got a 4 in total.
4.
And my drama die was a 2, so at least I
Okay.
didn't screw it up.
Yeah, you find the paperwork is quite easy, and while you're there busy collecting that up, the team is going over through the house and crawling over this piece of communications kit. And one of the guards comes up to you and says, "We found these." And he passes you 2 books. One seems to be a logbook, one seems to be a code book.
Oh, we're having those.
Yes, well, my next thing in the interrogation room was to see if I could get Bertim to extract the codes. But if we've got a code book, then all we need to know really is the key to make it work. So,
We're having those. In fact, at the risk of overkill, if it's a scrap of paper, if it has so much as a handwriting, I don't care if it turns out to be the guy's shopping list for the week. I'm having it.
Yeah, you can get all that there. So yeah, it's just there lying around to be picked up. Any more interrogation you want to do?
yeah, well, we wouldn't know he's found a code book, but
You
we
wouldn't.
would, of course, because what I want to do is I want to send a false message.
Okay.
So I want to find out what the codes, how would that be done, basically. I want to know everything about how he sends his messages so that we can start feeding them false information. And more and more outrageous it is, if we can appear plausible, that's cool. Or even if we don't make it outrageous, even if we just continue to feed them false information, that's sort of nothingness. And then when the key moment comes, we get them to react wrong, plans within plans. So I think we should maintain this listening post.
Okay, you can certainly leave a couple of guys there to keep watch, and with the logbooks you can see when he's been transmitting, so you can do that.
Yeah, so we want to get we basically want to extract from him everything we need to make another transmission.
Okay, can you both make me interrogation rolls then?
Okay. That's charisma. So, boom! I rolled a 5. Okay.
Oh yeah, double 6.
Oh,
Andromeda.
okay. Look at that. So, yes, it's more good cop, bad cop.
Yeah.
Tomica brings him a small cup of water, and Bertram throws it all over him and throws the cup at him and shouts and stamps his fist on the table, and he spills the beans. Threaten him with a syringe in his face, and he tells you how basically that he transmits a couple of times a day. He listens, spends most of the time listening to your transmissions, noting down anything important, sending that off. Doesn't necessarily know your codes, but he sends off the coded message for them to crack at their end, and then passes back any information he can gather from his sources who he pays money to.
Okay.
And he gets funds from. He gets quite a lot of funds actually coming in from Evangelista.
Awesome. So we'll start milking that as well, because we're going to take control of his bank account. We're going to get them to pay for our counterintelligence operation. So, yeah, let's get I don't know how bank accounts are secured in this world, but whatever biometric thing we need to basically unlock his bank account to us.
Yeah, I mean, you can take him along, or I'm sure the good doctor can rig something up for.
Yeah.
Or if it's an eye thing, you could. The eye and.
Okay, so we're going to keep him in room 2, basically.
Okay.
Room 1 is Lasgal.
Hmm.
That's good.
So
Yeah,
we'll keep
and-
him in room 2.
And as you're finishing the interrogation, Darius will turn back up with the books and paperwork he's found at the house to present you, log books and code books and stuff. And you can see, he's been sending messages back pretty solidly a couple of times a day for a month and a half.
Okay, and then with that, I think we should meet up with Fufa. We've proven it. We've got everything we need. We know how it's working, and we know how to. We can hand this operation over to Fufa to continue to do with as he will, basically, in terms of running that. He's a human computer. He can feed all the codes and everything, and put plans within plans. And with that, the rest of the operations for the night will kick off, and a certain drug dealer will find that they're surrounded by an awful lot of guns.
You're taking the drug dealer down here? You're not going to use him for anything else? You're just going to...
I don't
Stop
think so. I mean, like he's reporting to the person that we've got, and so we can send that information as if the drug dealer reported it.
Yeah.
The question is who else is reporting to this guy, which we can find out by maintaining the phones. So we'll pick those people up in time as well.
Okay. So over a period, you can actually make a really good sort of plan of the underworld of the city that you perhaps didn't know very much about, and even maybe tie them into some ones you did know about. You also come across several members of the household that were up to no good that you didn't know about, and you can either passing on information or drug dealing or theft or something.
Mm-hmm. And then we build up a nice big list, and then we sting them all at once.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can certainly do that. But say this has gone on a few days after you've passed it all over to Thufa, then your lives go back to sort of semi-normal sort of procedure until you're called into Thufa's office again, and he says, "You've done." Darius is back now, so you've got all that information. Tonica suggested you hand all of it over to Thufa, so he can take that forward because he's sort of like master of assassins and stuff. So he does all that sort of spying bit. So your life goes back to normal for a bit, and but in a couple of days, you get called back into his office, and he says that was very well done with that information, busting the drug dealer and the spy in the city. He says, I've got my spy network working on the Evangelistas, and it seems to be quite a more complicated situation than perhaps even we were thinking originally. It seems to be that someone has subverted Evangelista. Another great house has subverted Evangelista, and they've turned traitor on the Emperor and are working for another great house. It's a serious situation that we need to treat extremely carefully, because obviously with the propaganda they've been putting around, we're not flavor of the month at the moment. You can't just go blaming another house and then saying this is happening. So what we need is to somehow stop these people from doing this and get a reputation back.
So who is it?
It seems to be a family, a great house called Ordos. They have, apparently, he says, some very strange plans to discredit the Emperor and take over the Empire themselves. they seem to be doing this. They seem to want to do this through some sort of puppet. I'm not entirely sure who or what. I've not been able to find it out yet.
We know.
Really, that's quite interesting. But yeah, they seem to want to use some sort of puppet to take over the emperor or empire. Obviously, then all of us minor houses and House Carino will be dealt with. We need to find a way of stopping this.
Right. Well, I suggest we start the same way they started against us. We gather intel.
Yeah.
That is against Evangelista or against Ordos, you're saying?
Well, against Ordos.
Okay.
If they're our enemy, then
okay. Ordos is on Draconis 4.
So, yeah, what we need to do, exactly how they played it on us. We'll infiltrate, we'll gather intelligence, we'll continue to feed them intelligence through the spy house, through the proxy of house, blah, 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 that we just, that we just did. So we can manipulate the information they know to a certain extent. Obviously, they have a lot more resources than us.
Well, they're a great house.
Yeah, but that's no reason to shy away from a straight up fight. I mean, and I don't, I don't necessarily mean a fight, although I wouldn't be scared of that either, frankly.
There's an old saying from an old philosopher. God is not on the side of big battalions, he's on the side of the best shots. It's not about being the biggest house. We just need to know where to shoot.
Can you perhaps do me? Have you got political knowledge roles you could do just to see what knowledge you have about?
Got very little in house.
House and history house.
I've got politics house and imperial.
Imperial.
History
Would be
house.
imperial. For the Imperium.
Yeah, I'd just be making an intellect logic roll, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So the intellect logic would
6 on the drama die.
Ooh.
No modifiers.
I can give you an 8.
Oh, okay. 8's okay. Yeah, their major house, their symbol or crossbones and an ivy on a book. Their uniform is green. The colors for their flag is silver, green, and white. The home world is Sigma Draconis 4.
Right.
And in the past, they were most infamous for smuggling forbidden Ixian technologies to the home planet.
Oh. Thinking machines.
Thieving little bastards. Right. I think we need to I impart all that information.
Yeah, you also know that they're considered one of the most greedy and selfish great houses of the Imperium.
Beginning to think the Harkonnens are actually all right,
What? You think they've just got some very bad PR?
Yes.
Yeah, they're probably every bit as bad as Harkonnens.
Right. Well, we can use greed against them because there's this whole thing with the Landstrad and the talk of the, Arrakis contract changing. So we can weaponize that later on.
Yeah.
But for now, we just need to gather some intel ourselves. So I think we need to establish some kind of listening post on their homeworld.
Is that sort of the sort of thing you're going to mention in the dispatches you get from their listening post on your planet?
What do you mean? Sorry.
But the Arrakis changing hands and.
No, we can save that for when we can measure its effectiveness.
Yeah.
Like, because at the moment we need to learn more. Like, we know that their objective is to root out the Emperor. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
they want to be the Imperial family, the Imperial head. Yeah.
Yeah. So, so that means we can weaponize that sort of promise of Arrakis against them.
Yeah.
But there's no point just throwing it out there because we can. We need to wait until we can, punch left, right, left, and finish off. So we can use that to draw them out and expose them later.
Okay.
Those kind of plays. So I don't think we should blow the one ace we've got, which is giving them false information yet. Not until we can sort of follow it up with, the other hand coming in as well to follow the punch up. You can't just throw a wild punch in the air at a great house and they'd say, "Yeah, we're done," because they can take a few. They're great houses. You need to make sure you can put them down.
Yeah. Okay. So are you going yourselves to Draconis 4?
Well, is that what you want to GM? Because we could do that.
It's entirely up to you what you want to do.
What do you guys reckon? Should we go and learn about the enemy face to face? We need a premise for going something.
Well, yeah, we do.
We're going to need a hell of a premise.
You could possibly sneak in. You don't have to go as you are, as who you are.
Mm.
You could go in as traders or trade delegation or just businessmen or.
Well, I've got some sort of business acumen.
Even people just looking for work.
I'm pretty mean in a dogfight. Yeah.
Right. No, let's just clarify. You're pretty mean in a fight.
Oh, that too. But I can also fly an ornithopter and dogfight. But I'm pretty sure because I use the stats from the book, right? The sort of pre-gen stat block type thing. This is a very career character. Hasn't done anything outside of it. I do a few things extremely well.
Well, you could be you could go and offer your services as a soldier to them.
Hired guns. Yeah, there are one references, and I'd have to go.
That.
Okay.
No,
I don't think we should do that, and I'll tell you why. Burton, maybe. Myself, maybe. Might get away with it. But one look from any of the Fenring family in your direction and the game's up. Your face is known.
there's an even bigger problem. Bertin has a suit doctor symbol right there.
Yeah.
No one's going to believe it's a Merc.
Yeah.
What you do know is also I'll throw this in as well. They're considered insidious and have tendencies towards sabotage, expensive weaponry, and illegal technologies.
Oh, I love them already. No, I think we just need to get some satellites in orbit around their planet, basically.
Just bug the planet.
Yeah.
Bug the planet. Nothing goes into space, even satellites, without Space and Guild's permission.
You say nothing goes into space, but all the Spacing Guild would have to bring along is an ornithopter. They can do low orbit, right?
Mhm.
So they just bring the ornithopter. We fly out, and we just happen to leave a bit of debris behind.
Oh, you did it sneakily. Okay.
Yeah.
Ah,
Okay.
we'd leave a bit of debris behind, set up various satellites to listen, and presumably, I don't know, they can high frequency laser communicate back or something. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
the future, man.
Yeah, you can probably do some sort of point-to-point communication with a narrow beam or something, so you can.
Yeah.
It's hard to eavesdrop on. Yeah.
Would cost a bit though. I assume that
It would cost quite a bit. Yeah.
the Duke would have to sign that off,
Yeah.
and because the communication would be point to point, that does make it hard to intercept and detect, but also kind of says it's definitely from this planet. But that's okay. We'll just say it was the Emperor. It wasn't us.
The Emperor was doing it. Okay. Yeah. So you can travel to Sigma Draconis 4, which is an ice planet, I believe. I think it is. Let me see what it's in. Oh, that's the wrong ones. Sigma Draconis. There we go. Yes, it's an ice planet. So dress warm. Okay, so yes, you set off for the spaceport again.
Well, I'm just wondering, because, right, so we bug the orbit, we can pick up their communications, but really, don't we want to kind of try and get the gossip too?
You do. I would imagine you would have to land to do that, wouldn't you? Just send the sort of setup.
What I'm hoping is maybe we'll pick up something in the sort of array of communications that will give us an in.
Mm-hmm.
It give us a wedge, give us a wedge in the door because.
Yeah, start by listening.
Yeah.
Learn some stuff about the culture. We've got to try and master their house language as well somehow.
I mean, are you going to try and subvert one of their people with do the same sort of things they did, trying to get them hooked on drugs and feed you information? Or?
Yeah, I think that's got to be like the second step. I think the first step is to get satellites in orbit and just get a broad, listening. Which, granted, it's only going to get your TV channels and military comms and stuff. It's not going to get you that sort of gossip from the household, which is where I guess
all we need is just something, one crack in the door, something we can exploit.
Yeah. So if we can get that set up and get it, code breakers and all that kind of stuff doing their thing.
Okay. Yeah. So you report back to the Duke about what you found and your proposed plan.
Also, that other house, the Evangelista, keep the surveillance on them as well, because hopefully maybe they might reveal something as well that might give us an in.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The conversation might go that way, and that might give us a name, a something that'll give us something to work on.
Okay, yeah, you can do that.
We could go meet Evangelista, couldn't we? A lot easier than we can get to Draconis, and maybe we could start with that.
Evangelista is on the same planet you are.
Yeah.
Because, and we know more about them. We've had dealings with them in the past, I presume, even if it wasn't, even if we're not on first name terms. So why don't we start there maybe and see if we can root out some Mordor stuff there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, what do you reckon, Jason?
No, I'm happy with that as well. Place to start.
Okay. So yeah, that's just on another continent of the planet. So you can travel there quite freely, really, because you're all
Yeah.
sort of servants of the Empire, aren't you?
Yeah, so we can just sort of go there on the premise of, well, they're going to be at the wedding, so we're going to make a sort of list of who's going to come.
Darius can delivering a invitation.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Stay for a few days of light socializing, try and spy out anything we can. As a starting point, it's a lot more cost effective than satellite. Step 2 is satellite. Step 3 is get down on this ice planet and, do what they did to us.
Okay. Okay, so we'll leave that for next time then.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
Lovely.
All
Thank
right.
you very much.
And then tomorrow I kill you over War of the Ring.
What time do you want to do that?
I guess similar kind of time. Yeah, if we start sort of 11 to midday-ish, it's time to sort of get up and have breakfast and wake up naturally without, rushing or, waiting until the afternoon still being in a dressing gown. So,
Yeah, sure.
yeah,
That's
that
okay.
works for me.
Cool. We'll end the broadcast there then.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Yeah.
Yep.
Also,
Time for-
check out the new things on the Discord. There's new features in Prize Fighter.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you later.